Hello everybody, my name is Abstract and today we're playing a coffee themed map and we're gonna talk about coffee and why it's so much better than tea. My name is Abstract, I'm a bit of a goose, and this is why coffee is better than mostly. But we're playing a coffee themed map. We're gonna do an entire episode on coffee today because coffee is pretty cool. So yeah, we're doing some coffee things. So yeah, you'll see on my Instagram, I'm gonna post a word of the week every now and again, and it's gonna be an Afrikaans word, the language of my hometown, South Africa. Not town, but land, country, home country, South Africa. And it's a bit of a weird language, so y'all gonna have to learn it with me, I guess. Is that's how it's gonna work? But I'm gonna start off with coffee. It's coffee in Afrikaans. It's not anything mind-blowing, but yeah, I do hope you guys enjoy the video. It's actually like we're gonna start off the story of how coffee started, like the true origins of it, even though actually no one really knows where it came from. Also, you set a checkpoint at every gold block for yourself because yeah, and I will be giving credit to these guys. There's a second map we're going to be playing as well because this one's a bit short. But yeah, so like I said, no one really knows the origins of coffee. It's interesting thing actually. No one knows it. There's a ton of legends of it. But there is a story where it started out in Ethiopia, where a guy named Kaldi saw that some berries of a tree made the goats like extra hyperactive that day, and so he informed the leader monk, and that is where essentially the coffee thing started. Later on, Arabians found out about it and started a coffee trade on it. And then by like the 16th century, it was extremely popular and been growing in a lot more places, and known by places like Egypt, Turkey, Syria. I think I can't remember what the other one was, but there's another one place that was known. Yeah, later on, like they were coffee houses, and the coffee houses had some dumb name. I can't I'm like reading this right now and I can't pronounce it properly. It's cancerous, like a cave quave kind of quavo, can something. Someone can tell me in the comments how terribly racist I am. Let's just actually make this jump, and I'm missing them. So these places were essentially like pub areas for coffee. And it later on became like very popular hangout spot. You play chess here. I know. Proper way to get the ladies. Coffee dates, like this was the origin place of where coffees got started, which is actually like coffee dates got started, and where you'd go if you couldn't think of a date idea for your girlfriend, and I just find it pretty cool and kind of funny. And later on, it just got known as like a school of the wise because a lot of people would like be there and catch up on the news, and it is a. Can I just kill myself because it sounds festive? School, yeah, known as a school of the wise because that's where most people like got their news from. So yeah, that's a thing. And then later on, it got ended up popular in Europe when a bunch of European travelers brought back stories about like a weird black kind of bittery drink. And later on, it also got, like I said, popularized in Europe. But before it got completely popular, there were some people, I think it was mostly in Venus, but that thought it was because of the bittery taste of it and just everything being dark about it. People thought it was like a spawn of Satan kind of ordeal, just because of it. And the clergy, which is essentially the clergy decided, okay, you know what? In Venus, this is banned. And later on, the controversy got so bad that the Pope, they keep this in mind. They made the controversy of a drink so bad that the Pope had to step in and decide, okay, you know what? Let me handle this, okay? This drink I'm holding in my hand right now that I'm swirling and you can't hear at all. It's something that the Pope had to step in for. Like, that's when you... That's just extremely fun to me. But yeah, and like in Venice, 1615, they essentially banned coffee until the Pope stepped in and said the drink was too satisfying. I'm not kidding you, that is what it said when I researched this, that the drink was too satisfying and that it was allowed. I am not kidding you when I tell you this. Then later on, it became popular all over Europe. Like everybody loved it. France, Dutch, I think Belgium, especially London. Like London had later on like over 300 of these coffee houses with the Cantor names. Sorry, I'm just kind of trying to get over this level because it's being a pain in my behind. So it became a very popular drink, like I said, in London in the 17th century with over 300 coffee houses, which had over 300 coffee houses. And there were also these things known as penny universities. So you would pay a penny for a cup of joe and then also get a stimulating conversation out of it, which I found that honestly my nerdy side is kind of like loving that idea. And later on, like the common drink at that time was alcohol, like wine and beer. Those were the popular drinks. They were the extremely popular drinks at that time and got replaced by coffee. People found that when they drank the coffee, like it became it was more stimulating. They had better mornings, no hangovers. Yeah, mother, looking at you. I'm just kidding. She's lovely. And people found that they worked more efficiently. They had better mornings, and overall it was just better because you were more awake and more energetic. And like many believe that this was the precursor to the coffee in the workplace. In the mid 1600s, coffee was introduced into New Amsterdam. It was known as New York by the British. Tea at that moment was like still a favorite above coffee, so FT for that, tea can die. But later on, King George decided that taxes and placing them like a heavy tax on tea was a great idea, and so later on, I think it was Thomas Jefferson at the time, decided that, you know what, coffee is the modern civilization drink. I think that is his exact quote, but don't quote me on that. So Thomas Jefferson decided that, you know what, I am not drinking, come on, man. And the revolt later on got known as the Boston Tea Party, and coffee became a much more popular drink later on because of the heavy tax put on by King George III at that time. And then later on, competition grew fiercer and people wanted to start growing coffee outside of Arabia. So the Dutch tried to get their hands on it, which they actually did, surprisingly enough. And they tried to plant in India, but it failed miserably because I'm guessing the climate maybe just doesn't work there. So they tried on an island of Batavia, I think that's, which then got like planted on the island of Batavia, known as the island of Java, which correlates to the different meaning of coffee today, which is Java, and it created an extremely successful plant. They created another plantation afterwards, like 2 more plantations, and an extremely successful trade in Sumatra and Celebes. 1914, New Amsterdam gave a coffee seedling or young coffee plant to King Louis XIV of France, who then ordered the plant to be put in the Royal Botanical Garden, where then certain officer Gabriel de Clue in 1723 joined the plant, and after several sabotages and a pirate attack, I'm not kidding you, there was a pirate attack, He made it home safely, like bad weather, pirate attacks. It was not a pretty sight. Mans just did not have it easy. Made it back, and that is the cause of about that seedling is the birth parent of about 18 million trees on that island, like on the island of Martinique, for the next 50 years. It was also the parent of a ton of America's coffee trees, and then the Brazilian coffee that exists. Well, the way that happened was there was a certain handsome officer that, like Francisco something, that was sent by the emperor to France, New Guinea, to get seedling, but the French governor was selfish and said no, but his wife said yes, and like his wife just went and when the general wanted to leave, I think he's a general, I think he was a general, he got a bunch of flowers from the governor's wife, which had a ton of seedlings in it, which then later on was the cause of a billion-dollar industry. So, be thankful for that. That was a pretty insane thing. And then later on, colonists, travelers, and like traders and everything spread the word of coffee. So it later on became a worldwide phenomenon, and it's like extremely popular. And later on became like, of course, like it built nations with how good the economy and the how good of a commodity it was. I don't know why I just jumped down. It was the second most popular commodity after oil, both popularized by, like I said, Arabia. Yes, which is just a funny thing to me. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And so yeah, that's about the history of it. Now let's go over to some funny stories. There was a story, I don't know, it was actually a really popular one, where a woman, like a 79-year-old grandma, sued McDonald's over spilled coffee because it was too hot. So like, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Stella Liebeck of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like, she caused a big lawsuit, like a massively popular one. Like 700 people came out to complain about it that helped her with her lawsuit. So what happened is she and her grandson were together in a car. She ordered a coffee from McDonald's. The son pulled over to so that they could put sugar and cream on their coffee, where the grandma then took the lid off and spilled the coffee, the hot ass coffee that was around at that moment like 180 to 190 Fahrenheit, or for normal people who aren't dumb, 82 degrees Celsius. And which I don't know if you guys noticed, but that's kind of hot. Like, it's almost as hot as I am, and that's like hard to do, so you have to understand that's kind of hot. And she spilled it all over her thighs, her granny behind, and her no square zone, which like caused third degree, like about 60% of her body was in third degree burns. She was for 6 weeks in the hospital with skin grafts being done, and it just was not a fun time. So she sued McDonald's, and she wanted to settle for 20K, which is what McDonald's should have done but didn't. And that was kind of on them for not doing it, because later on, like I said, over 700 people came out of it. Came out and talked about how their coffee was also too hot, and well, she later on made 160K out of it. Originally to 100K, but like for compensatory, yeah, we make coffee. Dope. I'm stuck. Okay. Yeah. She was really supposed to make 200K, like I explained, but because like they figured out like about 20% of the spill was her fault, she only got 160K in compensatory damages, but it also made 2.7 million in punitive damages, which was pretty insane. And just to keep in mind, normal brewed coffees are about like 54 degrees Celsius. That's about normal brewed coffees. That's what your machines at home will make, is that level of heat. So yeah, later on when that local McDonald's they found out that they lowered their coffees to about 165 Fahrenheit or something like that, and that was about 65 degrees Celsius, which was still pretty hot if you think about it. So that was pretty insane. Then, and this, I can't make some of it. There are two stories here that you can't make up. There was a story about how two guys robbed newsstands, and one literally just walked in with a cup of coffee. Like they would ask for some addiction sticks, and like I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like tobacco, and they would then go from newsstand to newsstand, and one guy literally just nonchalantly walks there in with a cup of coffee. Like 2012, man just walks in with a cup of coffee, cup of Joe, you know, like fun times. Spacebar doesn't work, and so that was a funny thing. Then, and I can't make these things up. A guy got arrested for being nude in his own home while drinking coffee. So like a certain Eric Williamson one day literally made his normal cup of coffee, or like coffee pot, and then went upstairs and threw himself a cup of Joe. And this time he just happened to be breezing it, you know, being just out and about. And so like a woman and her child saw this, and she called the police on him, which then he got arrested for. He told the reporter that he was, like I said, just making like normal cup of Joe. He just happened to be going out and about and on it. Then later on, there were also other people, women that testified that they saw this, and a certain librarian that thought it was rather rude. And she called the police when they came back to say that they saw nothing, which kind of an ouch on his side. Like, that's a bit of an insult, saying they see nothing. Like, come on, how did you not see the 2mm defeater? Come on. Can't believe I just made that joke. But yeah, and the second one also called in, and he literally got arrested for being out in the breeze. She says he threw the middle finger at him, but he denies any accusation of the sort. And yeah, that's that. The history of coffee with a pretty cool map. Pretty short, but pretty cool. So yeah, I do hope you guys did enjoy this. This was an interesting video. And I do hope you guys did enjoy it. Now, I got stuff to do. I got places to be, and I got people to see. So I'm out, nerds.
And I hear Obama say that when you have to, abstract 455 right now.